Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Unbroken, continuous, uninterrupted, uncreated, undying knowledge is the truth. And therefore, this yoga which was said in the second and the third chapter of Gita, that is not created by anybody in time. To tell this, the teacher said that this knowledge was given by me to Lord Sun, from where it came to Manu, from there to Ikshvaku, and as the time passed, this knowledge became as if diluted. As if diluted means what? People started losing interest in that. When this was said, then the question came that how come you are telling me? Because of my sheer love for you, and therefore I am telling. And then Arjuna asked this question as to how come you are recently born and the sun is even before the creation, how you are the one who has given the knowledge? How can I accept that the one who gave this knowledge to sun and the one who is giving this knowledge to me is one and the same person? How can I accept? In reply to this, Bhagavan said, Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tavacharjuna tanyaham veda sarvani natvam vetha parantapa. Because what do we understand by the word I? Arjuna's understanding about the word I was a limited individual born in time, functioning under the influence of the relativity. And what was the understanding of I for Bhagavan Sri Krishna? Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Svabhavatvad Anavarada Jnana Shaktihi Aham. Being the eternal, liberated, absolute, blissful existence, and therefore my knowledge is not corrupted by relativity. So where is the problem now? The problem is whether we are living our life in the relative realm of existence or we are living as the absolute functioning through the relativity. This is the basis. So, after having told this, then the question comes, what is the difference between the birth of Lord and our birth? Because he said, Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tavacharjuna. Both of us are born number of times. So if God is also born and we are also born, what is the difference? So katham tarhi tava nitya ishvarasya dharma adharma abhave api janma iti uchyate. We can understand that we are in need or we are under compulsion. Under the influence of our earlier good or bad deeds, we are born again and again. This we understand. But that which is eternal, how can eternal be subjected to birth and death? Therefore, nitya ishvarasya. And in absolute, there is no topic of dharma adharma. Like, when I go and poke my finger into somebody else's eye, then it is called as adharma, a sin. But when my own finger goes in my own eye, it is not dharma adharma. Because there is no sense of otherness. Dharma adharma is possible only when sense of otherness is valid, and when the sense of otherness is valid, we are functioning under the relative realm and not under the absolute being. So therefore, how come such a you, who is the absolute being, is also subjected to birth? So, in the 6th verse, now, Bhagavan tells, what is the meaning of birth of the Lord? And from that we will understand what is the meaning of our birth as a jiva. And then from there we will try to understand our birth as a body. So, today we will celebrate 3 birthdays. Ajopi sannavyayatma Bhutanamishwaropi san Prakrutim swamadhisthaya Sambhavamyatma mayaya. Now first, aham sambhavami. First statement. I am not made to take birth. Sambhavami. I manifest myself. There is a difference between a birth and manifestation. So, sambhavami. Samyak bhavami. I manifest myself without being subjected to relativity. Because what will be the birth of the Absolute? Birth of the Absolute will be the beginning of the relativity. So, I manifest as relativity, and yet I do not lose my absolute status. This is the meaning of sambhavami. That means, although I remain unborn, ajaha api, janma rahitaha api san. Although I am never born, because never there was a time when I was not there. So, although unborn, I appear to be born. See? So, ajaha api janma rahitaha api san tatha avyayatma akshina jnana shakti svabhavaha api san. The second thing. Ajo api san avyayatma api san. Avyayatma means the one who is never corrupted by the influence of relativity. See, the words used by Bhagavan Shankara is akshina jnana shakti svabhavaha. Jnana Shakti has not become Kshina. What is the Kshinata? What is the reduction in the Jnana Shakti? The understanding. The reduction in the understanding is only this body I am. The other bodies I am not. This is the reduction in the knowledge. Or I am responsible only for the good things, not for the bad things. This is reduction in the knowledge. Meaning, when the knowledge is associated with the limitations, it is called as reduction in knowledge. And when the knowledge is not influenced by the limitations, it is called as akshina jnana shakti. See? Avyayatma akshina jnana shakti svabhavaha. Therefore, I never have any illusion about my being. Arjuna had an illusion, whether he is a grandson or a disciple or a warrior, who is he? See? But the Lord has never a doubt about it as to who he is. Therefore, akshina jnana svabhavaha. So although I am unborn, so the Sat is not corrupted. Sat is that which is Trikala Abadhita Vastu Sat, that which is not influenced by the 3 periods of time. Therefore, neither born, nor grows, nor dies. Therefore, Ajaha Api is referring to the Sat. And the Chit is the knowledge, uncreated knowledge is Chit. Therefore, Avyayatma Akshina Jnana Shakti Swabhavaha. So, Sat ho gaya, Chit ho gaya. Now the third. Bhutanam Brahmadi Stamba Parjantanam Ishvaraha Ishanashilaha Apisan. And who is Ishvara? Ishvara is a happy guy. He is not a miserable one. Jiva is the miserable one. So, all the 3 aspects are referred by the Lord. The Sat, therefore unborn. The Chit, therefore never deluded, knows about him being. And Ishvaraha, of the nature of infinite glory. Ananda Swabhavaha. So, Brahmadi Stamba Parjantanam Ishvaraha Ishanashilaha Apisan. So, although this is true, Apisan means although this is true, Prakrutim Swam Mama Vaishnavim Mayam Trigunatmikam Yasyam Vashe Sarvam Jagat Vartate Yaya Mohitam Sat Swam Atmanam Vasudevam Najanati Tam Prakrutim Swam Adhisthaya Vashikritya Sambhavami Dehavan Iva Bhavami Jataha Iva Atma Mayaya Atmana Mayaya Na Paramarthataha Lokavat. See? So, who is the Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Swabhava Paramatma Aham? He is Satchidananda, and therefore Ajaha Avyayatma and Bhutanam Ishvara. And then how is he born? So the teacher says, Swam Prakrutim, my own Prakriti. Now what is my own Prakriti? Vaishnavim. Vishnoho Ataha Vaishnavim. It is Vishnu's. Vishnu means what? The one who is all pervading. Vishnu doesn't mean only Shankar Chakra Gada Padma. Vishnu means the one who is permeating in and through the total creation, sustenance and destruction. That Vaishnavim Prakrutim Mayam. And what is this Maya? Trigunatmika. Trigunatmika of the nature of this 3 gunas, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Yasya Vashehe Sarvam Jagat Vartate. And the whole world is under the influence of this Trigunatmika Maya. Now this Trigunatmika Maya is under my control. Vartate. And Yaya Mohitam Sat. And because of this influence of this Maya, Swam Atmanam Vasudevam Najanati. The whole world, that means the people. Here Jagat means the people. Because the stones and bricks are not deluded. It is the human beings who are deluded. Jivas who are deluded. So, all the beings, Mohitam, they get deluded. What they get deluded? Swam Atmanam Vasudevam Najanati. They don't recognize themselves to be the absolute reality. See? This is the difference between Bhagavan Sri Krishna and Arjuna. Therefore he said, Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tavacha Arjuna tanyaham veda sarvani natvam vedha parantapa. That is something like this. A wave will be talking about its own biography with reference to its own birth, growth, death, decay, or at the most 1 or 2 or 3 generations before. When Jharkhand has to talk about the history of Jharkhand, 1 year bachcha. See? Then if Goa has to talk about maybe 20-25 years. And if India has to talk about maybe 50-55 years. And if the globe has to think about its birthday, see? So, here the teacher says, under the influence of this Prakriti, the people are deluded. So, the limited relative embodiment will always be deluded under the influence of time. And therefore, they don't recognize their own essential self. This is what I have been emphasizing again and again. I told you once, one of my very good friend, and he was very much after me, only for this. I want to tell you about your earlier births. I said, you want to tell me, but I don't want to listen. He said, you are very peculiar. I said, what can I do? I am like that. He said, people come and request me and I refuse to them. I said, the question is, our basic approach is different to life. You are taking Jiva Bhava as the truth. And for me, it is not. So when I am studying, Bhagavan says, Ajaha api, unborn. So as a Jiva that I am, I don't have the experience. But all of us have the experience that we are unborn. See? Jiva is born and dies. We have no experience of birth and death. So on what basis should we say? See? Therefore, when we are under the delusion influence of this Trigunatmika Maya, what we understand? That I am a limited being. Now these limited beings are understood under two levels. One as a body and second as the embodied. Both. As a body I am a limited being and as a Jiva I am a limited being. So, to protect myself from the limitations of the body, what do? Kurute Ganga Sagara Gamanam Vrata Paripalanam Athavadanam. And as the age increases, the delusion becomes stronger. See? During the childhood, youth, the attachment to the world, to the body is not that much. But as the age grows, attachment to the body, to the people, to the property becomes stronger and stronger. Therefore, not knowing oneself to be someone other than the body, we live totally at the body level. Now the second limitation of the self is the Jiva Bhava. Now such people talk about doing punya karma, meritorious deeds, going to the heavens, preventing to go from the hell, etc. So they have taken for granted that they are the Jiva. And such people will be all the time talking about dharma, adharma, papa, punya, or going to the hell or heaven, or going to Saket or the Golok, or the Vaikuntha or the Kailash. They will be constantly talking about going, coming. And the third one is that this absolute reality, how can it become relative? See? Relativity is supported by the absolute, and the relativity is imagined on the absolute. Now evaluate this statement through an example. The space is absolute. North, east, west, south, they are in relation to each other. So the relativity of the directions is supported by whom? By the space. Without space, there cannot be north, east, west, south. And second thing, this north, east, west, south, is it really there? No. It is only imagined with reference to the position of the sun. Oh, see? What we call as summer in the northern hemisphere is called as a winter in the southern hemisphere. See? So this is all in relation. So in the absolute, relativity can be imagined and it is not real. See? So this is what Bhagavan says. Swam Atmanam Vasudevam Idam Jagat Na Janati. This world doesn't recognize themselves to be that absolute supreme self. Na Janati. Tam Prakrutim Swam, that my Maya, my Prakriti, Adhishthaya Vashikritya. See? But as regard I am concerned, this Prakriti, this Maya is under my absolute governorship. She has no freedom. Isn't it not true? The burning power cannot have independent existence apart from the fire. Therefore, Vashikritya. Now be very attentive. When we are under the influence of the sense organs, sense objects, and the mind and the intellect, we are the Jiva. And when we the same are no more under the influence of the sense objects, the sense organs, the mind and the intellect, then the same one who was a miserable one is the master one. See? What is the difference? Only this. Swam Prakritim Adhishthaya Vashikritya. Is it not in our Patanjali Yoga Darshan we have seen that when we do the Sayyama, and if you do Sayyama on Kantakupe, on the throat, then you conquer the hunger and thirst. So, average people are living under the influence of hunger and thirst. If you do this Sayyama, then you don't feel hungry, you don't feel thirsty. Then what are you called by the people? Great Mahatma, you know. Nobody has seen him taking food because he takes alone. See? And these various kinds of powers, they are only when we are able to control the Prakriti for some time. So temporary control over Prakriti will give you temporary powers. See? And when it is permanent, like Bhagavan Sri Krishna. So, tam prakritim swam adhishthaya vashikritya sambhavami. Sambhavami means I manifest myself. Like dehavan iva bhavami. Jataha iva. This iva word is very important. As if I have taken the body. As if I am born. That means not in reality. Therefore, Jataha iva atma mayaya, atmanaha mayaya, by one's own independent power and control. Na paramarthataha, but not in essence, not in reality. Lokavat, like the people are born. That means there are two types of births. One type of birth is the birth of a character on the stage of the drama. And second is the birth of a person after marriage. See? On the stage, there is a scene of marriage. That a girl and a boy are there, and a fire is there, and then all kinds of mantras are chanted, and then they put the garlands around each other, and the whole thing is done so beautifully, perfectly, with nice music. And then sometime another scene comes that they are fighting and they are divorced. So, birth of a husband and a wife, and thereafter the divorce and the separation of the husband and the wife. It is Eva, married Eva. divorce eva, not actually. Na paramarthata. In the same manner, Paramatma manifests in this world not under the compulsion. See? That is his fun, it is joy. And therefore, when a stage actor is crying on the stage, he is enjoying that crying, he is not suffering. See? When he is acting as a leper and miserable, and all the people are throwing stones at him, now that miserable thing he is enjoying. See? He doesn't suffer. It is we who suffer, we are looking at him. So, Dehavan iva bhavami jataha iva atmamaya atmanaha mayaya na paramarthataha. Lokavat, like the people are born. And now, what is the meaning of birth? Shrimad Bhagavad Mahapuran gives the definition of birth 2-3 places, very beautiful. One place it is said, birth means what? Identification with a finite conditioning is called as birth. See, there can't be a better definition than this. So we are identified with a child body, then we consider ourselves to be a child. And then we get identified with some kind of thing which we have heard. Remember once I told you about one boy. I asked him, hey Gujju, can you speak Gujarati? I can speak Gujarati, but I am not Gujju. Then what are you? If you are talking Gujarati, you must be Gujju. No, I am not. And a child of hardly 5-6 years. Then what are you? I am Lohana Kachhi. Imagine. So I asked him, Kachhi बांधनी आती है क्या? Do you know what is the meaning of Kachhi? I don't know. What is the meaning of Lohana? I don't know. Then how are you Lohana Kachhi? I don't know. It's true, I don't know. See, by mistake he told the truth. Really, I don't know why I am Lohana Kachhi. And in this way, slowly, we develop strong identification with some imagination. And then I am Indian. I am not Pakistani. Pakistan Murdabad, India Jindabad. And a day is going to come when India and Pakistan will merge together. There won't be separate. Then what will happen to these slogans? See, therefore birth is identification with the finite is called as birth. And naturally what will be the death? Disidentification from the finite is called as death. And where there is no identification, no disidentification, there is neither birth nor death. Therefore, when we are born, we have identified ourselves with something finite. And once we know that this is just a drama that is being played, like the actor gets identified with the character and role only for a short period of time, knowing well. See, Tanyaham Veda Sarvani, I know all that, and this is only a drama, not the reality. Therefore, Prakritim Samadhisthaya Sambhavami Atmamayaya. See, in our Upanishad we have seen how it is a birth without a birth. That is why, remember I told you once, one person in US was wanting to argue with me on this topic. You Hindus believe in the rebirth, but we don't believe. How can we understand your topic? I said, who told you Hindus believe in rebirth? We don't believe in birth. Forget about rebirth. Rebirth is only a topic discussion in between. It is not the truth. So, Prakritim Samadhisthaya Sambhavami Atmamayaya. So, it is only relative manifestation with reference to something. And when we come to discover that there is nothing other than the self, then you cannot be a referential relative existence. See? When we don't know somebody, that somebody is introduced to us through somebody whom we are known to. So, do you know this gentleman? I don't know him. Do you know Guptaji? Who will not know Guptaji? He is his son-in-law. Okay, I understood now. So, we know in relation to something. But when there is but one, now just contemplate in your own heart. Now you are man, woman, young, old, rich, poor, as a body or as a world outside. Then as a prana, you are hungry, thirsty. As a mind, you are miserable, happy. As an individual, you are goody goody, baddy baddy. And when you go deep within, like in deep sleep, that time all the differences disappear. That undifferentiated, unbroken reality is always the same. He who is firmly abiding in this, thereafter playing the game of life, is what Bhagavan Sri Krishna said. And therefore he can never be miserable, he who is playing the game of life. Now after having told this technique or the prakriya, how the Lord descends and how we are born. Okay, this second part we are not taken. How we are born? We are born because we are intelligent. How we are intelligent? About everything we have got a question. And what is the question? Why God created so many miseries? There was a master. It's a very beautiful story. You will enjoy if you are attentive. There was a master. He was hardly talking, like Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi. And there was another Mahatma who was wanting to do a lot of missionary work, improve the society, disseminate the knowledge, make the people happy. So, one day he had a doubt in his mind. Such people are doubtful, doubt in his mind. Suppose I have to give this extremely wonderful knowledge to a person who cannot see, who cannot hear, and who cannot talk. If I come across such a person, how can I give this knowledge to the people for the good of the society? With this question, he goes to a master. How an enlightened person should deal with a situation when he has to give this knowledge to a blind, deaf and a dumb person. See the beautiful thing. Long time back, remember I told you, there is one great Swami who is a contemporary of our Swami. Very old now, he is now plus 90. And nobody can predict anything about him. Very, very sweet, childlike. So he asked me, he read my Amrita Anubhav commentary. He said, suppose we have to explain ignorance to the people. How will we explain? I said, if I had to talk to somebody, I will talk about the God. Why should I talk about ignorance? When I said like this, he got up from his seat, he came and hugged. He said, it is difficult to talk to you, now I understood. We don't have to talk about ignorance to the world. People are sufficiently ignorant. What is there to talk about? So when this person approached this great master, if I had to talk, explain this to a blind, to a dumb and a deaf person, what I should do? So he said, come near. So he came near. When he came near, he had a lathi in his hand. He just wanted to give him. So he ran away. And then again he said, come here. So again he went. Then he said, what for? He said, when I told you come here, you heard it, is it not? Therefore you came? Yes. And when I wanted to beat you with a stick, you have seen that I am beating, therefore you ran? Yes. You can see? Yes. And then you ask me a question, what for? That you can talk? Yes. Where is the question? See, his problem was, how will I explain to a dumb, deaf and a blind person? Are you dumb? Are you deaf? Are you blind? Now, why worry about the world? See, this is one of the biggest problem for all those who go on this path. We want to make everybody wise except ourselves. So either we are objective or we become social worker, spiritual social worker. And therefore the whole truth is hidden. This is what Bhagavan Shankaracharya said. Dharma, adharma, pratibadha jnana shaktitvat. All our knowledge is corrupted only by this relativity. So unless we get out of it once for all, we will never understand the meaning of this. Ajopi san navya atma bhutanam ishwaropi san prakritim swamadhisthaya sambhavami atma mayaya. Now, tacca janma kada kimartham chaiti uchyate. You know, this kind of birth of yours, O Lord, it is when it takes place, kada, and kimarthan, what for. So totally there are three topics discussed in these three verses. First is how the avatar or the manifestation of the Lord takes place, prakriya. Second thing, when it takes place. And third, what is the purpose. Therefore, first is katham, second is kada, and third is kimartham. See these three words. In the introduction to the sixth verse, Bhagavan has used the word katham. Then introduction to the seventh verse, kada and kimartham cha. And again in the eighth verse, kimartham. So these are the three topics discussed in these three verses. Now first is kada, when the Lord manifests. Yada yada hi dharmasya ग्लानिर्भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानमधर्मस्य तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम्. यदा यदा ही धर्मस्य ग्लानिहि हानिहि वर्णाश्रमादि लक्षणस्य प्राणिनाम अभ्युदय निश्रेयस साधनस्य भवति भारत. Whenever there is a fall, there is a destruction, there is corruption in dharmasya, in the dharma, dharmasya glanihi, corruption in the dharma. Hey Bharata, second thing. And adharmasya abhyuthanam udbhavaha, and when the unrighteousness is predominating, tada atmanam srujami aham mayaya, then I manifest myself. Now this is a simple translation we have taken. Now we have to go deeper and deeper in this. See, when I say a pencil, you can see an object called as a pencil. But when I say love, when I say truthfulness, when I say trust, when I say anger, see, when I say wisdom, these are not objects that can be seen. They are not existing anywhere. Similarly, when we say dharma, dharma is not a paperweight like thing kept. No. When we say dharmasya glanihi bhavati, means what? Like we say, because of the heat, the milk is spoiled. So milk is an object, because of the heat it has become curds. In the same manner, this dharma, because of the adharma it has become spoiled. So are these two objects or what? See? Very clearly understand this. So when we say the world is too bad, do we mean that the bricks and the stones and the rivers and the trees? No. We mean the people. In the same manner, dharmasya glanihi means what? Those who are walking the path of righteousness. Who are those who are walking the path of righteousness? Varnashramadi lakshanasya. When we are supposed to lead our life according to varnashrama, whether we are Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, whether we are Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasi. So, if I am a particular varna dhari and particular ashrama dhari, like suppose I am Brahmachari varna, a Brahmachari ashrama and Brahmana varna, means what? Then what is my dharma? My dharma is self-control, study of scriptures, austerities, vairagya, etc. But when I am a Brahmachari and a Brahmana, instead of studying, if I start, by this study nothing happens, What will you get by studying this Upanishad and Gita and all that? Are you going to get a job? It is all useless. We have seen so many Mahatmas. They are good for nothing. They are making business out of it. That means an element of doubt will enter in your mind. So what is dharmasya hani now? Be very clear in this understanding. Dharmasya hani means those who are walking the path of righteousness according to varnashrama vyavastha, according to the position in life and the type we are born with. Instead of following that, if we take a detour and lose faith in what we have accepted earlier, that lack of faith in our own commitment is called as dharmasya hani or dharmasya glani. Now take for example, one day one lady told me this question, this problem or her observation. She says, Swamiji, earlier I used to do a lot of puja and I used to do lot of archana. Now, suddenly I lost interest in everything. I don't know why. I just don't feel like even reading or listening to Satsang, no. So is it a sign of spiritual growth? Now see how we deceive ourselves. Please understand, spiritual growth is not lack of interest in life. Spiritual growth is unloading the confusions from the mind, is spiritual growth. And therefore, when Bhagavan says, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati, when those who are supposed to be what they are supposed to be, instead of that they go the wrong way, and while doing this they justify that this is the only way. When we have spent, one doctor was talking to me after my lecture. He came and he said, Swamiji, you make fun of our doctors that they are earning a lot of money and they do this and cutthroat practice and all that. But tell me, To get admission and to study, we have to shell lakhs of rupees. Then where from that investment will come out? We have to earn it only from the patients. Where from we will earn? Therefore, they are justifying that going the wrong way is the right way, because this is how we got our degrees. This is what is called as dharmasya glanir bhavati. First, we are doing the wrong way. Second, we justify how the wrong is right. When this justification overpowers us, understand dharmasya glanihi, we are fully convinced of wrong lifestyle. So, yada yada hi dharmasya glanihi bhavati bharata. And second thing, dharmasya glanihi bhavati when we are in deep sleep. See, in deep sleep, we are neither man nor woman, neither Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasi, Guru, Shishya, teacher, taught. None of these things are there. So when there is no relative existence, there is no dharma. So when the dharma is existing? Dharma is existing only in relativity. And in deep sleep, in samadhi, there is no relativity. So yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati. So whenever there is lack of commitment, and when there is no lack of commitment in deep sleep. In deep sleep, dharmasya glani kadapi na bhavati. Is that what you mean? No. Then abhyutthanam adharmasya. When the adharma overpowers. So adharma overpowers means what? Udbhavaha adharmasya. And then, what is adharma? There are 2-3 aspects about this. This is 4th chapter. Here only it will come. One is adharma, second is paradharma, third is vidharma. So, there is something called a dharma bhasa. So when what we are supposed to do, that we do sincerely is dharma. Second, what we are not supposed to do and that we don't do is vidharma. Third, that what we are not supposed to do, that we do is adharma. So adharmasya udbhavaha abhyutthanam bhavati. And when the not only the right values are discarded, but the wrong values are adopted in the society by the people. Now see, is it not the picture that we get every time throughout the history of life or the world? We imagine that this is the only time, it is the most miserable time in the history of mankind. You know, I was reading some books, not now, long time back, and you read the spiritual books, introduction. And I used to have this funny kind of hobby. So I used to collect some thoughts. And the same thought you will find repeated in so many books. And one thought used to be this: never there was a time when Bhagavad Gita was more relevant than today. Published in 1884. Then published in 1900. Then published in 1934. And published in 2004. The same sentence will come. Never there was a time more relevant for the application of Bhagavad Gita, because today is the most worst time. This has always been like that, nothing new. Is it not? Is it only today there is corruption? When corruption was not, I'll give example about, dharmic corruption. See, today's corruption, by money you can purchase even the judges. So it's not a big deal. So, in Bhagavad Mahapuran this comes. When that Takshaka was on his way to bite and kill that Parikshit. So there was one Brahmin who knew the mantra by which Parikshit will be protected. He cannot be killed. So when he is going, Takshaka takes the form in a disguise of somebody and gives him so much of wealth that what are you going to get out of that? I'll get $1 million. I give $2 million. Go back. Don't do that. And that Pandit who was supposed to chant that mantra and save Parikshit from dying. So when corruption was not there, tell me. This has always been like that. And therefore when Bhagavan says this, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati abhyutthanam adharmasya. Now, these I have told you historical thing and in general. Now come to the individual. So the third one is subjective for our own spiritual practice. Whenever we get any doubt in our mind, lack of Shraddha, I don't know whether I am studying is all right or not, what will I get out of this study? Or suddenly we get a doubt, I think, he doesn't like me, she doesn't like me, I am all alone. Or suddenly you get a doubt in your mind that, the teacher doesn't like me and he has never said hello to me even once. And all kinds of things start happening in the mind. And once this happens, the Shraddha is cracked. See? Like a glass. Once it develops a crack, it cannot be repaired. Yoya Shraddha saeva saha. Bhagavan will tell us toward the end of Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, when we say dharmasya glanir bhavati means what? When our faith and commitment to the cause for what we are living, we develop doubt about it. So we develop doubt about studies. We develop doubt about our own spiritual practice. We develop some kind of attraction towards something else. When this thing happens, understand dharmasya glanihi. We are shaken from within. You remember in our Kenopanishad, the student is shaken by the teacher, isn't it? Yadi manyase suvedeti dabhramevapi nunam tvam vetha brahmano rupam. If you think you understood very well, understood nothing. And then the student also says, Nona vedeti vedacha, naham mannesu vedeti, nona vedeti vedacha, yonastad veda tadveda. You get so confused totally unless you are very clear what the whole thing is going about. Yes, I know that I don't know, but that doesn't mean I don't know. And in this manner I know. And if you know what I mean, then only you know, or you also don't know. And therefore the conclusion, avidnyatam vijanatam vidnyatam avijanatam. Therefore, when even the teacher will shake, see, some people, those who are very simple, pure-hearted, they can be told and they understand in one go. In one go they go. They are uttam adhikari. And the worst kind of adhikari is the one who is extremely intelligent. That person is constantly arguing logic, argument. Now to such a student, there is only one way. Create a situation. This is how the masters create situation. Like Bhagavan Sri Krishna has created situation for Arjun. See, had Bhagavan Sri Krishna taken the chariot in front of Duryodhana, Bhagavad Gita would never have come out. See? So who created this situation? The Lord himself. Because Arjuna is argumentative, logic. To such arrogant, intelligent people, the only way is create a situation, and therefore you will see intelligent people are more miserable because God has to create more situations. So, dharmasya glanihi therefore means we have no doubt about the path that we have taken. We have no doubt about the destination that is to be reached. We have no doubt about our own efforts that we are putting forward. And in this manner, we are steady and slow on our way. Then there is no dharmasya glani. Otherwise, this happens with many people. They will come and study something, and then they get enchanted. Swami, do you know that, Kriya Yoga of, this Paramahamsa Yogananda? I said, I don't know. No, but they say it's very good. I said, very good, then go ahead. Shall I go? Will you mind? I said, no, I have no mind. You go. It's good you are going. It's the right thing for you, not this. And when this was said, there was another person standing there. See, this is how the Lord plays the game. So that person told Swamiji, he told me, wait a minute. I have been in that Kriya Yoga for 20 years. And other than little bit of jerks here and there, nothing happens. Suppose you can jerk out like a frog. Because you know that Kundalini gives you a push. What next? You fall again. Again jerk. Are you going to be a frog throughout life or what? Is it really like that? Yes, I had did it for 20 years. Therefore, I came here now. See? Therefore, let us not have an iota of doubt. This is what here Bhagavan is telling. We are going according to the scriptural. Pravrutti, nivrutti, lakshanaha, abhyudaya, nishreyasa hetuhu, dharma, dharma, lakshanaha. This is the way. There is no other way. Otherwise, we get carried away by all kinds of these funny things, Like the super consciousness is going to descend. Now, we know supercomputer. What is super consciousness? And a day is going to come. And then only there will be liberation of this world. And all those people are waiting when it is going to come. And then they get a trouble in the neck. Then they put the neck, collar neck. This has nothing to do with the truth. Therefore, be firmly committed to what you have chosen. And go slow and steady. Otherwise, we get enchanted by this thing, I like to do this thing for the society. Enough of it. I told you so many times, this cleanliness worm doesn't go out of my head. It will go one day. It's still hanging around. And, there was one great Mahatma in Bombay. You might have heard his name, Gadge Maharaj. He was the guru of many ministers in the first ministry of Government of India. And it's because of him only this Ambedkar Maharaj has become a Buddha, or else he would have become a Christian or a Muslim. So, he was belonging to the scheduled caste and a great devotee of the Lord. He was a Siddha Purusha. He had some Siddhis. And to teach the world cleanliness, particularly the lower caste, they are very dirty kind of people. To teach them cleanliness, throughout his life, he used to have jhadu in his hand. He used to put on all funny kind of clothes so that he can merge with the ignorant people. And then he will be, whenever there is a big gathering of people, he will go few days in advance and put proper lines. Here there should be bullock carts, here there should be this thing and all that, and plan the whole thing, keep it clean. Everybody he was telling all the time. Throughout life he has taken only this vow, to teach people cleanliness. Mera Bharat Mahan. See? where God cannot do this. Do you think that anybody can do it? But we get so much inspired by that jhadu in our hand that we forget Paramatma and keep the jhadu in the hand. Therefore, this is called as adharmasya udbhava. What is adharma? Adharma is we are in this world only to know the truth. Anything, paradharmo bhayavaha, anything that will take us away from our chosen goal is adharma. Everything is useless other than knowing the self. Otherwise, you do anything in your life. So many people have done. It will yield no results except getting entangled in this world. Now, this is how dharmasya glani and adharmasya udbhavaha we have understood from the subjective point of view also. Now the third aspect, kimartham, why the Lord descends on in this world. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkrutam dharma samstapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Now here the purpose is given. Why the Lord descends? Two purposes. First is, see the sequence, don't take the sequence lightly. Sadhunam paritranaya is the first purpose. And the second purpose is dushkrutam vinashaya. See. Like many people have got this funny notion that is it not the right time for the Lord to descend? See how much corruption, dirty things are happening in this world. Lord doesn't come when there are many useless people. Lord comes when there are many good people. See, Bhagwan Krishna has taken avatar when all the great people like Pandavas and then the Uddhava and Akrura, when those people were there. See, paritranaya sadhunam. And in the process, if there are some gangrenes to be chopped off, it has to be done. Therefore, dushkrutam vinashaya cha, for the destruction of the wicked. Now be very attentive. Who is saying this? Bhagwan himself is saying. So for the upliftment of the world, for the protection of the wise, for the destruction of the wicked, Bhagwan himself will come. Then what should we do? Uddhared atmanatmanam natmanam avasadayed. Let us not go in the area of operation of the Lord. We are not in this world to do the uddhar of the world. You must have read, some publicity material, so many places I have seen. It is so peculiar when you read that. I don't remember the name, but one word I always remember, for the destruction of the wicked. Durjanancha nashasati. Now the question comes, who will define? No? It is like our parliamentarian trying to decide who should contest the election. See? Or our politicians, if they have to decide who should contest the election, they will say only the corrupt and the criminal alone should contest. So they have to decide. Therefore, about the quality and the character of a contesting candidate cannot be passed through any parliament of the world. It cannot be. Because they are the one who have to decide. They will decide about others. But when it comes to deciding about themselves, they will never take a decision. Therefore, here we have to very clearly understand in our heart, paritranaya sadhunam. Now be very attentive. When we are practicing our spiritual practice sincerely, our study, our meditation, our non-reactionary existence in the world, when we remain cool and quiet under all conditions, when this is being practiced, then the Lord will come to help us. This is the meaning. That is what, it is said in the devotion, you walk one step, I shall walk 10 steps. But we don't understand the secret of Bhagavan Sri Krishna. He is never straight. Don't take his statement on the surface value. What he says, you walk one step, I will walk 10 steps. How the 1 becomes 10? By adding 0. So he said, you start, I do nothing. Problem is about your starting. I am always there. See? So, paritranaya sadhunam. When we are walking the spiritual path, then the Lord descends in our heart. And it is only through the mind alone the Lord manifests in this world. And who are the sadhu? Sadhnoti parahitam iti sadhavaha ye te. Those who are an asset to the society, those who are helping the world, they are called as sadhu. So, paritranaya sadhunam. Therefore, when we are walking the spiritual path, these are the words of the Lord, I manifest sambhavami yuge yuge. Means what? Yuge yuge means what you know? Not only what Bhagavan has given, prati yugam, every yuga. Yuge yuge means along with you. See? You start walking the spiritual path, I am with you, don't worry, I am always with you. You know that famous write-up about the footprints? So many people, one day one person somewhere, I think in Goa or somewhere, he came and he got it from somewhere, either Xerox or internet. He came, Swamiji, something extraordinary I have got for you, and I know I like you this. You like it. The moment he showed me, is it footprints? You know that? I said, this is published in 1632. Is it? Even I didn't know. So I said, I am so sorry that they didn't tell you. So in that footprints it is written that, O Lord, I was always remembering you and you were always with me, and there were 2 pairs of footprints, but when I needed you the most, you were not there, because there are only 1 pair of footprints. The Lord says, don't cry, let me also cry. What is that? Those footprints are mine, they are not yours. You are so dead, I was carrying you on my head. Oh, what oh? You know, paritranaya sadhunam. The Lord is always with those who are walking the spiritual path. And for that, vinashaya dushkrutam. Whatever will come as an obstacle in your spiritual progress, He will destroy that. Suppose the obstacle is your own children, He will make you in such a manner that you will detach yourself from all of them. See? Very important. And you know the real problems are the nears and dears. Arjuna had no problem other than the grandfather and the guru. See? Real problems of our life, they are never enemies. They are our near, they are our real enemies. Therefore, 2 things, paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya dushkrutam. By this what will happen? Dharma samsthapanarthaya. By that there will be re-establishment of the dharma. Now what is the re-establishment of dharma? Re-establishment of dharma is allowing the divinity to manifest through us. That is the purpose for what God has created this world. See? God has created human beings so that He can manifest in His full glory through the human beings. But when the human beings start behaving like animals, then He has to take avatar and clean them so that He can again manifest. Therefore, dharma samsthapana, the re-establishment of the righteousness or the dharma, is possible only when those who are walking the path of righteousness, they have confidence, commitment and courage to live for the principles that they uphold in life. Not otherwise. Otherwise, anybody can come and tell, look here, these days, you are unnecessarily suffering for your truth, forget about it, do this much and everything will be all right. Who will know about it? See? It is very easy to get corrupted in life. Therefore, dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. I am always there with you. Never there was a time when I was not there for the upliftment of the good people and the destruction of the bad. Now, last thought. This good and bad is simultaneously existing in each one of us. When we are predominantly sattvic, we are sadhus. And when the rajoguna and tamoguna overpowers, we become the dushkruta. Meaning what? Whenever there is predominant sattva in us, that time the Lord descends in our life. And in the descent of the Lord in our life, the rajas and the tamas is taken care of. In this manner, in these 3 verses, 6th, 7th and 8th, this is one of the most important principle of descent of God in this world is established. It is not the prophet that is talking. It is the Lord Himself who is talking. And therefore, what is the difference between ordinary birth of a prophet and birth of God as avatar? This is what the teacher will tell us in the 9th verse that we will take in our next class. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnaat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.